So who let the bulls out? Well, it was Janet Yellen. She did it on closing bell, I believe it was, on Thursday evening on CNBC. Janet Yellen, if for those of you who don't know, who is a prominent member of Joe Biden's administration. And so she is pretty much, she's going to set the monetary policy, or with Joe's help, set the monetary policy for the next 4 years. And she made some statements that I think have pretty much given me a map for what's going to happen in the stock market for the next 6 months. And potentially, she will then sometime in the future give us another map for beyond that. But it's pretty clear what's going to happen in the stock market, in the economy for the next 6 months. And I want to share that with you in case you missed it, particularly of those of you who aren't in the United States who might have missed this.
Best of Us Investors presents Carrie Griegmeyer.
Janet Yellen spoke very specific to them about the stimulus package. So my question is, where are we, Janet, with the stimulus package right now?
Members of Congress are dealing with it. The first steps toward reconciliation have been passed, a budget resolution. So we're hoping to see progress over the next couple of weeks in enacting that package into law. President Biden has had discussions with members of Congress on both sides of the aisle, would ideally like to see a bipartisan support for a package that we think is really what we need to deal with the pandemic and to get beyond it, get our economy back on its feet, and help all the people who've been so badly harmed by the pandemic and the economic havoc it's caused.
Okay, that's pretty clear. But do we really need $2 million when just this last week we got numbers that retail sales were up? And heck, we all know the stock market has certainly recovered from the March lows of the pandemic. Everything seems to be going full steam ahead, Janet. What can you share with me?
We have an unemployment rate that, if properly measured in some sense, was really close to 10%. In addition to over 9 million people unemployed, we have 4 million who have dropped out of the labor force, another 2 million who have seen reduced hours. So we're digging out of a deep hole. Last year was the worst year for economic growth since World War II. And the Congressional Budget Office projection recently showed it would take until 2024 in their baseline case to get back to full employment without a package like this. So we think it's very important to have a big package addresses the pain this has caused. 15 million Americans behind on their rent, 24 million adults and 12 million children who don't have enough to eat, small businesses failing. I think the price of doing too little is much higher than the price of doing something big. We think that the benefits will far outweigh the costs in the longer run.
Okay, but what about inflation? Inflation, we got some numbers this last week that indicated that inflation is going to take over, that we're going to get higher interest rates, and as a result, the movement will be away from the high-risk stocks and to the inflation and to T-bills to get better returns there. What about inflation?
Been very low for over a decade. And, it's a risk, but it's a risk that the Federal Reserve and others have tools to address. The greater risk is of scarring of people, having this pandemic take a permanent, lifelong toll on their lives and livelihoods.
Well, there's your answer. And Janet should know what the tools are available to the Federal Reserve to curb inflation. And it's indicated by what she just said. She's ready, willing, and able, as is Joe, to use those tools to make sure that inflation does not become a part of the next 6 months' U.S. economy. Janet, how do you feel about the feeling that these stimulus checks are going to go to the wrong people, that they're actually going to end up in the hands of people sitting at home trading in the stock market, and thus they're not really helping the people who need to be helped?
President Biden has discussed the checks with Republicans and members of Congress. He wants to make sure that they're appropriately targeted so they go to people in need, not to very high income people who don't need it. But, there's so much pain in this economy. I think these checks really will provide relief, and they'll help jumpstart our economy, giving people money to spend when we can get out again and go back to our former lives. So, there are a lot of families that are operating on the margin, and I think these checks will really help them.
There you have it. That's the map for the next 6 months. Janet has laid it out. You may not agree with it, but that really doesn't matter. This is coming from Washington. This is coming from where the printing presses are. This is coming from an administration that controls the Congress, that has the deciding vote in the Senate. I think it's pretty clear. So the question then becomes to you and I, with this in mind, what do we do next? Let me share with you what I did next. I have a community. I have a tribe. They meet at our Discord. There's about 17,800, 900 people there right now, or have access to it. So I went to them this morning and I shared with them that what I had heard from Janet Yellen and what I thought was going to happen in the future. And I said, look, you have access to my portfolio. That's part of what the Patreon group does. And I only have about $22,000 worth of cash in my $1 million portfolio. And I have an agreement that I won't add any more cash to that portfolio. And I think there are going to be some tremendous opportunities here in the next 6 months that I need to be in a position to take care of. So I asked them, I said, okay, go to my portfolio and tell me what you think I ought to sell. I gave them about 15 minutes and I got a lot of feedback. And so I did. I went in and I sold about $30,000 to bring me up close to $50,000 worth of cash that I can use as this market moves forward over the next 6 months. Now, I sold some stocks. I sold some of my NEO. Why did I do that? NEO's going to do well. NEO's had its run. It got its 222x run. It's not going to achieve that again, so that's not realistic. I had a robotic medical stock for about $1.56, and I was actually down on it, and I think I had about $10,000. I sold it. I got out of it because I think there are going to be some huge opportunities in the next 6 months that I want to take advantage of. And then I had another stock that I wasn't. So truly, I didn't rely on my mind to make this decision. I put it to the tribe. I put it to the group that I trust, the people who give me information on new opportunities, and they will over the next 6 months that I'll put that $50,000 to work for. And again, I'll have returns like I have in several 3D stocks of 200 and 400% since January the 4th. That's how I manage my portfolio. I don't do it by myself. I've got subscribers. I think I'm close to 140,000 now. And of those, some 17,000 come to the Discord and we share information. So I'm not working by myself. And I suggest you don't either. So if you want to be a part of this unique concept of how to manage a stock portfolio and how to work as a tribe as opposed to an individual, go down to here, bestofusinvestors.com. Give me your name and your email address, and then I'll send you an invitation to our Discord. You come to our Discord, and there in our Patreon group, you have access to my portfolio. You have access every morning. I try every morning to go and have a discussion with these people and share my thoughts like I did this morning. This is Friday. I saw this interview. I believed it was an important interview. I shared it with the tribe, and then I asked them for their help. Okay? And so I've got 50 grand now in a position to take advantage. And I shared with them. They asked me immediately, well, what are you going to invest in? I don't know. I don't know right now, and I'm not ready to do it today anyway because the market is up. I want some opportunity. So I'm going to ask my tribe, and the parameters I have in those opportunities is they're going to change the way I live, and they're going to have exponential growth in the next 6 months. So that's the premise. So my decisions aren't going to be made by me alone. I'm going to bring the tribe together. We're going to seize on this opportunity. We already decided what Carrie should sell. It's done. And I notified him immediately when it was sold at the number of shares and the prices. So we're working together. If you want to be a part of this, and I can't imagine why you wouldn't, Best of Us Investors. We're also building a university. And the university is going to be housed on the website, and it's going to teach people those questions that they want answered. Like, we're going to have a class on how to integrate real estate into your portfolio. How to find a good rental property, I guess, is the simple thing. I asked some people at a conference I was at, what's your largest asset? What's the largest asset in your portfolio? And the answer always is my home. Okay, then why don't you buy another one? Okay, and get somebody else to pay for it. Wow, that's class number 1 in the university. So I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. There's reasons I'm doing this now. We'll get into that some other time. I'm here to help you. I've got 3 goals for you. 1, make good financial decisions, and that's what we do collectively. 2, keep more of what you make, and that's what I'm going to teach you, the tax code. In fact, Sarah's going to teach you the tax code. She's my CPA, and she's agreed to do some classes in the university. And number 3, create some family wealth. The government's going to allow us to pass just shy of 24 million, Nita and I, estate tax-free to our children and our grandchildren. So we're going to do it. It's a gift. 24 million you can give to your kids with no estate taxes. So we're going to do it. Why not? Okay, talk to you tomorrow.